They're going to see some Garibaldi, some kelp bass, some perch, some opali, and hopefully an octopus or two.
Amanda, where have you been?
I've been to the bottom of the sea and back.
From Catalina on another edition of Out and About with Roger Martin.
You can expect a beautiful ride on the channel between the mainland and Catlina Island. If we're lucky, we'll see some wildlife out there, possibly dolphins, whales, that sort of thing. About a week ago, I saw a bass king shark, which is very rare to see.
So how long does it take to get between Long Beach and Catalina, say?
It's going to take us about an hour, give or take a couple of minutes.
What do you do to make sure that people are safe here?
Well, I have 3 deckhands on board. We have several cabin attendants. They're all trained in CPR, first aid, and are very familiar with the operation of the vessel. We give safety demonstrations as far as life jackets, the location of other safety equipment, the life floats, and we have an engineering department that we maintain contact with to make sure that everything's running smoothly, and just overseeing the operation of the vessel, making sure we get back and forth safely.
What's your feeling each time that you approach the town of Avalon?
It's a beautiful view as you approach it, and I just enjoy going in and out of there. It's a beautiful place to work. It's kind of my office, and it's a great way to spend the day.
Arriving at the island in the late morning, my co-host Amanda and I make our way to the crown jewel of Avalon's picturesque harbor, the Catalina Casino, the island's most recognizable landmark.
Well, this is an icon of Southern California and the United States in general. It had its grand opening in 1929, constructed by the Wrigley family, and constructed for a grand total of $6 million, which went way over budget. The original projected price for the building was about $500,000, which times have changed quite a bit. Almost everything in the building you're going to see is the original. And in addition to that, we run tours of this great building. And those are run 7 days a week by the Discovery Tours here in Avalon.
What are we going to see when we go through the building today?
Well, we're going to see the theater that was first designed for talking motion pictures. We'll see the world's largest circular ballroom that is still active to this day again. We'll also get a great view of Avalon itself from the balcony. And there's a little few niches in between, for example, the Wrigley's own private viewing room or projection room. And if I tell you any more than that, I'll be giving the whole thing away, so maybe we should just go on in.
The theater still has its original pipe organ built by the Page Pipe Organ Company, and its 1,154 seats are so plush and comfortable that you may forget why you came there in the first place.
It's definitely the most comfortable theater chair I've ever been in. Probably just as well as it is over here.
It's great over here. I don't care if they show a movie or not. From the second floor, Mr. Wrigley himself could monitor the theater action below from the comfort of his own private suite. Here, visitors can have a taste of the luxury which enveloped Wrigley and the lucky guests who were privileged to be part of his world. Inside the projection booth are vintage projectors which are still used today for the evening screenings, and even more notable since the theater was the first to be designed specifically for sound motion pictures. The dressing rooms immediately transport visitors to the past as elaborate ball gowns display the elegance which embraced this bygone era. Even the countertop is splashed with the vintage lipsticks, face creams, and eyeliners which decorated and defined the glamorous standards of the 30s and 40s. The smaller private dressing rooms reflect the elegance and grace with their Art Deco furniture and authentic vintage fabrics. And as we make our way to the third floor, we ascend up ramps instead of stairs, an idea that Wrigley got from his ballpark in Chicago. Here we find ourselves at the Marine Bar, a popular watering spot for partygoers eager to throw back a few between dances. And lastly, the tour brings us to the famed Circular Ballroom, a true milestone of Art Deco design and engineering, complete with a chandelier which lowers to the floor for easy access and maintenance.
This beautiful ballroom is the world's largest circular dance floor still to this day, 10,000 square feet in diameter. We still host at least a dozen big band dances a year, each and every year to this day. Also blues festival, jazz festivals, Mardi Gras events, and private fairs as well. Nothing has changed in this ballroom. Basically, very, very little, if any, has changed. The ballroom floor is all the same. Matter of fact, even in 1989, when our little local high school gymnasium was being refurbished, we had all of our high school basketball games take place out here on the ballroom floor. And that was really kind of an intimidation factor for the away team as well. It just goes to show you, though, and this is a real great indicator as to the Wrigley love for the building and the island itself, just if at all possible, keep everything up and in a beautiful condition. And I think this building really does reflect that. The view itself is outstanding. I mean, it is world famous. Not only do you see all of Avalon with the wonderful homes dating back, and the Wrigley's original home, as well as wonderful wildlife. A lot of people don't realize from the balcony of this casino, oftentimes during the right time of year, you can see gray whales. We've seen marlin, fish in the kelp beds, Garibaldi, bald eagles, on, and all of that wildlife is right here along with this casino. And the other aspect of the view is it's 360 degrees. Not only do you see all of Avalon, you see the west end of the island as well, and it's just a true gem.
One question, and that is about the word casino. It's not what you might think.
No, it's not. A lot of people always refer that or think of the word casino having to do with gambling. Now, here's the deal. Back in 1929, actually a little before that, the word casino actually meant place of gathering, place of entertainment. Now, back in around 1929, Mr. Wrigley derived the word casino from its Italian origin. Happens to be the same definition in the dictionary. Casino is simply a place of gathering and a place of entertainment. Now, back when Las Vegas took off and got real popular, not only did they offer gambling, of course, but you got to realize under the same roof they also offered live entertainment and food and drink and accommodations. So they began to use the word casino, and it just stuck. And we always kind of come to associate that word with gambling. But in reality, in its original context, the word casino is simply place of gathering, place of entertainment, and I don't think a more perfect word could be applied. It's very beautiful and thankfully still very, very active ballroom.
The casino is also popular for reasons other than its beautiful design. It's become a magnet for thousands of scuba enthusiasts who gravitate to its famed Casino Point for some of the best diving on the island. Every day, hundreds of experienced and novice divers take the plunge off Casino Point to experience the silent beauty of the kelp beds which lay below the surface. In the second part of our Catlina adventure, Amanda will immerse herself in the same aquatic wonderland that has fascinated divers for generations. Stay with us as we experience scuba from a whole new perspective when Out and About's Catlina tour continues.
Let's get started!
Check out Senses on Main Street each third Thursday of the month from 7 to 11 p.m. in Old Town Newhall.
Did you know you can now get your exclusive Santa Clarita news every night on TV? SCV Newsbreak is a nightly news program at the top of every hour through the evening, brought to you by SCV TV and AM 1220 KHTS. Monday through Friday, it features news, sports, weather, and entertainment, and it is only about what is happening in Santa Clarita. It's the SCV Newsbreak, weekday evenings here on SCV TV, local television for Santa Clarita.
Hi, I'm Roger Martin, and you're watching SCV TV, local television for Santa Clarita.
I teach auto racing, and I like to work on my own cars. Naturally, I like to change my own oil. Unfortunately, many do-it-yourselfers don't always go by the rules.
The good news is, there's a drop-off center near you that will gladly accept your used oil, free of charge, and it only takes a few minutes.
So please, recycle your used oil.
Brought to you by Cal Recycle and the City of Santa Clarita.
Are you looking forward to your trip?
Oh, this is going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to see the Garibaldis again. It's been a while.
I don't know the Garibaldis. Do they live here?
They do. It's the California state fish.
Oh, it's a fish?
It is a fish. And when they're young, they start out as a bright neon blue.
So what's going to happen today with Amanda and Jim?
They're going to have a good time. They're going to get to experience the underwater world firsthand in Catlina Island.
And they will go in from here, and they will see down below there what?
They will see all sorts of fish. They will also see all sorts of plant life. There's actually more marine life in 1 cubic yard of our Catlina environment than there is anywhere else in the world.
Continuing out and about tour of Santa Catalina Island, we find ourselves soaking up the wondrous sights and sounds of the city of Avalon, home to the world-renowned Catalina Casino and an endless playground of activities that is unparalleled throughout Southern California. Visitors who want to experience the thrill of scuba diving without the time and expense of training can now do it through the exciting sport known as snuba.
Snuba is a kind of a cross between scuba diving and snorkeling. We're allowed to breathe off of an air cylinder in a raft off a 20-foot umbilical hose.
It seems to me also that everyone will have to be aware that it's a fragile environment. Is that right?
That's part of the tour. We're sharing the experience with them, but also how fragile this ecosystem truly is.
What are some of the points of that?
Limiting trash entering our waterways. That's a big one. Done on a quick disconnect fitting. The trick is this will not work.
Bob explains the basics of the equipment utilized in snuba, beginning with the most important piece of gear, the regulator. It's the same type of air hose used by scuba divers, and it's so crucial to the safety of the dive that it must be attached by a harness and easily available at all times. Breathing is easy once the diver adjusts to the weight and feel of the regulator clenched between the teeth. Breathing is done in and out of the mouth only, since the nose is confined to the insides of the face mask. Once the orientation is complete, the divers make their way to the rocky shores off Descanso Beach, where a standard air tank is placed onto a pontoon. After a final safety check of all gear, the divers prepare physically and psychologically for their dive.
How long will they be down there?
They'll be in the water anywhere between 30 and 50 minutes, based on their comfort level.
How do you determine how comfortable they are?
Their breathing pattern. If they're cool, calm, and collected, their air will last a long time. If they're hyperventilating because they're nervous, they'll have challenges.
So probably there was a little warm-up before all this happened, right?
Yeah, we did a little warm-up at the booth. We did a little practicing. We practiced some skills. We're going to enter the water now and repeat those skills to ensure their comfort and go have some fun.
With pontoon and tank in tow, the trio proceeds to enter the water. The temperature is chilly at first, but the same water that chills their bones will soon create a thermal layer of warmth within their wetsuits and keep them quite comfortable for the next hour or so. After a few quick breathing tips at the surface, Amanda is ready to immerse herself in the water and enjoy her very first snuba experience.
That's the one where you actually have an air hose that's attached to you through a rebreather, and you hold your rebreather in your mouth as you're swimming so that you can actually continue to breathe underwater. It's about a 20-foot hose, so I was traveling all over the place, and every once in a while I had to remind myself that I actually had a hose attached to me, so I couldn't go too far.
It takes just a few minutes to adapt, but once she is comfortable, Amanda eagerly enters this silent and beautiful realm that has inspired so many generations of sport divers.
You know, it's a completely different world. Your weight is completely different, and you actually have the ability to travel not only 2 dimensions, side to side, forward and backward, but you can travel up and down, swim through just like the fish do, and you can chase them down and watch them as they go by. It's really neat.
Our producer, Jim, admires a school of jack mackerel that leisurely drifts by while Amanda adjusts her breathing and clears her ears to venture even deeper into the underwater abyss. After about 30 minutes of bottom time, the duo is treated to another even more unique underwater experience. The pair don heavy helmets similar to what deep-sea divers wear and descend down a long ladder to the ocean floor for a brisk walk in the underwater park, adding an unusual twist to their watery adventure.
Yeah, we decided to throw a little curveball at the plan here and put a helmet on them and have them walk along the seafloor. They got to experience it from a different perspective that way.
This new underwater experience is called Sea Trek, offering divers an entirely different experience.
The Sea Trek is where you wear a helmet and you breathe as you walk the bottom of the ocean floor.
I would think I'd be a little nervous about the helmet maybe coming off and all of a sudden glug, glug, glug.
At first I might have been a little bit nervous about that too, but as they were setting it on me, they had to set it down extremely slowly because it was very heavy. And they actually gave instructions as to making sure that you don't lean over too far or move too fast, because if you fall or if you lose your balance, that helmet will take you straight down to the bottom of the ocean and you have to take it off to be able to stand back up or get to the surface.
What are some of the creatures you saw down below there?
Well as seeing all the creatures underneath during the Sea Trek and getting to actually almost touch fish and watching them come so close they almost kissed my helmet. When I was doing the actual snuba, the instructor brought up a horn shark, a lobster. I got to touch both. I got to play with them and see what they actually feel like. And the horn shark's a lot like sandpaper.
During the Sea Trek, the divers' heads are submerged in a bubble of air that prevents the water from touching their faces, yet allows them to breathe through both their mouth and nose, making it a different diving experience from snuba.
Well, with the snuba being tethered, I had to actually stay close to my area, but I got to travel all over the place and swim around. With the Sea Trek, I got to walk on the bottom of the ocean floor. And doing that, of course, it was a very strange experience. It felt like I was somewhat weightless other than the helmet. Being able to breathe underwater, having my head completely surrounded by air. It was really bizarre. It was like being in space.
After about 20 minutes wearing the Sea Trek helmets, the group ascends the ladder, still high from their 2 unique dive experiences, and eager to share the joy and excitement of their underwater encounters.
We did the snuba and we did the Sea Trek. Both of them. And I'm telling you, what do you think?
It was wild.
It's like
I
being
never
an
thought
astronaut.
I'd be I never thought I'd be comfortable under the water like
Two
that.
different diving experiences, but as different as night and day. And both just terrific dives. What a great time.
What do you think, Amanda?
It was an adventure I'd love to do it again and again. I mean, I finally have convinced myself that, yeah, scuba diving is something I can do, and I can pressurize my ears, and there's no more I can't.
What did you see down below?
When we got to see the lobster, a female.
Brought a lobster up, and we swam through a huge school of fish. I'm not sure what they were. But there were thousands and thousands and thousands of fish. It was a big school. We just swam right through it.
That was quite an adventure. I've always wanted to try scuba diving, but I was always afraid I'd never be able to pressurize my ears, and I just learned a valuable lesson. It's time to learn to scuba dive.
What was it like for you?
It was really bizarre at first. The helmet was extremely heavy, but that was what actually was able to weigh us down so that we were able to walk on the sea floor. Rather than wearing the weight belt, the helmet did all that work for us.
And what did you see on the sea floor?
On the sea floor, I got to see the sea.
No, I mean fish or something like that.
As well as Garibaldi's, both juvenile and adult. I got to see some jack mackerels. I got to see all kinds of really interesting fish, and some of them were coming within inches of my fingertips.
Wow. Is this a common experience?
This is a common experience. When the water visibility is good and the sea is calm, it's a wonderful experience underwater. So those with little water experience can actually get to enjoy the environment as well.
Activities like snuba and sea trek are just a few of the adventures that await at this island paradise. The Catlina Island Company is adding new and unique adventure tour packages each year to entertain and inspire visitors to explore these inviting shores. And whether you're an experienced diver eager to revisit the kelp forests or a first-timer wanting to get their feet wet, there is something for everyone to explore.
Is this something that just about anybody can do or not?
Anybody that's inspired to get in the water and that's comfortable in the water, this is a perfect experience for them.
And a perfect place, I might add.
It's a wonderful place. I moved here 30 years ago by mistake and have never left.
What a great mistake you made.
Yeah, you know, sometimes things do work out.
And my day-to-day life is so hectic that I couldn't wait for this trip. I couldn't wait to go. I knew I was going to have a chance to relax. I left my cell phone at home, which is very unusual for me, stuffed it in the sock drawer, and hit the boat and said, let's go. And ever since I got here, I've been more relaxed than I have been in probably the last year or so.
I do know that there's a different climate in Catlina, which not everyone knows about. How is it different from the mainland?
Well, since we're only about 20 miles away from the mainland, you wouldn't realize that there's not that much of a difference. But when we were still in Los Angeles, it was completely foggy and gray and gloomy. And just about the time we got to Catalina, the clouds cleared up. The island was completely surrounded in sunshine. It was probably easily 10 degrees warmer, and it's just beautiful.
To experience the world-famous Catlina Casino and witness its magnificent Art Deco and Mediterranean revival design, or to slip below the surface on a snuba or sea trek adventure, hop on board the Catlina Express and head on over to Catalina for an island experience you will never forget.